Right, this is the wheelchair we're going to use, and this is the bicycle, and this is just a bicycle we got out of the scrap $20 rummage sale. Steel frame means it's weldable. Now, down here on the back of the wheelchair, we'll see we have these two arms that stick out, and most wheelchairs do have those. Those are sticking out about 4 inches. Alright, so you can see we've got our forks mounted down on the little plate. I got the plate clamped on using the U-bolts, and now I'm just going to measure to have the distance the same on both ends so that the forks are centered on the steel plate. Close, you know, just somewhere in the area. Doesn't have to be to the 100,000ths of an inch. If we get it within 3/8 to a half an inch or less, that's great. So that'll be the next step, and then once those are in place, we'll throw a C-clamp on them and weld them there, and that's be where they'll mount. Then we'll get on to modifying the frame of the bicycle. Okay, so the front forks are attached down to the bottom of the wheelchair, but you see the headstock angle. See how it's tilted up like that? This is the headstock. The problem here, as we turn corner, see how the bike's leaned over? Right. That's because of this angle. So what we're going to do here is we're going to cut the backbone and notch the down tube. We're going to cut this all the way through here. And we're just going to notch this right here. Then we're going to bend this out so that this headstock is straight up and down. It'll be right up here when we're done. And then we're going to end up adding about 4 inches of material in here so that the headstock is straight up and down in there. That's going to allow the bicycle to pivot back and forth in a swing without leaning like this. This is unrideable when it leans like this. So that's our next step. We're going to cut through here, we're going to notch here, and we're going to spread this out and add material to extend this backbone. Alright, we'll get to cutting. So, we could use a handsaw to do this, or we could just use the power saw and get it over with. Ready? This isn't a very good saw. Alright, so it's cut through there. Now we're going to notch it down here to allow it to spread open. Yeah, we didn't cut all the way through. Yeah, I need to go a little bit further. Good. So that's going to allow this to come open. Open. Oh, I'm going to have to raise this up to give me some room. All right. I'll loosen that. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so now we can splay that open. Good, so now we can see the headstock is about straight up and down. Just eyeball it, doesn't need to be perfect. But now we need to fill in material in this gap. Looks like this one's about 3 inches instead of 4. That's almost straight up and down. We'll reroute these cables behind here so they're not pushing into the back of this too. Heck, we might end up repositioning these handlebars too. It's easy to do. Nothing to it. Basic bicycle stuff. But we need to make ourselves a piece of material to go in between here. And we'll use the bender, and we'll get that bent to fit right in. So we'll get that going, and we'll be back in a few minutes. All right, so as you can see, I notched it on both sides of the cut. I got my bent piece of steel, and this is round, hollow, 1 inch outside diameter, 1 inch inside diameter. And you see how that's got a little bend to him, this angle we've created. And I've got my around 3-inch gap between the two, and that puts this headstock straight up and down. And we can raise the gooseneck to get the handlebars up. We'll get these cables out of the way. Then I'm going to fire up the welder and do a good perimeter weld, and then a couple of plug welds there and there. But as for the bending, if you're doing it yourself, you could probably do that in a vise. Or if you're having a shop do it, say a local welding shop, they should be doing it easily with the equipment they have on hand. In this case, I just used a little hydraulic tubing bender made with a bottle jack. So that was another piece of equipment I made myself. But I'll get this welded up. We'll throw some paint on it. I'll hook the brake lines back up, and we'll be ready to go for a ride. Okay, so we got the bottom notch welded back in, got the backbone welded in, throw a little paint on that. You see, I did flip the handlebars so they clears, whoever's sitting in there clears their head a little better. Oh, here's something to consider. Yes, you got to be aware of this. There's no front wheel, therefore there's no front brake. There's a rear brake. So, ride accordingly. You know, understand you've got a rear brake only, you don't have a front brake. Still got these parking brakes on the wheelchair itself. Or if the person in the chair grabbed onto the wheels and was the brakes themselves, you know. I see they have the foot pads removed from this right now just because I'm rolling it around. But normally you'd have the feet pads up there. But, yeah, ride accordingly. And if you want to build something like this for yourself, you know, that's on you. But $20 secondhand bicycle and about an hour's worth of work. There's another close-up of the bracket down there. And, you know, about 3 inches of material added to the backbone. Notch the down tube. Off you go, you know. It just doesn't take $1,500 to put something together to take someone in a wheelchair for a bicycle ride. Good luck, and forgive the messy garage. That wasn't the purpose. Okay, here's the end product. There's the things you want to note. You see I swiveled the headstock, or the gooseneck around so that the handlebars aren't hitting the back of anyone's head. Notice the notch, or the kink in the backbone, and so the headstock can be straight up and down. Those are the tricks. That's the key. And down there on the bottom, see the plate? Mounts right on there, holds the forks with 2 pieces of angle iron. And here's our end product. And heck, take someone for a ride, you know, have some fun with it. But the number one key for the frame mod is you got to get that headstock vertical. And you do that by notching and bending the neck forward there at the backbone and the down tube.